Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Can You Hack It? I am your host Ben, and this week we're going to be taking a look at another system from Hackthebox.eu. This one is called DevOops, and it shows an example of some XML external entity injection and then just some sloppy practices with Git repos and SSH keys. So in this video, we're going to try and do something a little bit different. I'm going to try doing some screencasting to let you see the key combos that I'm using and things that I'm typing. Let me know in the comments if you like it or not. I may include it in future videos. I may not. I'm going to try and go pretty fast through this video since I don't have a lot of time. I had a previously recorded one, but I didn't really like it. So I figured I'd try and see if I can redo it really quickly. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, systems DevOops, it's a Linux system, IP is 10.10.10.91. So we go ahead and pull open our console, open a new tab up, and let's create a directory to work out of. So if we switch to boxes and make dir DevOops, switch into there, and let's create a Nmap directory. And then let's get Nmap started. So Nmap will make the timing aggressive, run scripts and enumerate versions, output all formats to Nmap quick, and then V to make it verbose so it shows while we're running. And the IP address of the machine, 10.10.10.91. And so we can see 22 and 5000 are open. 22, of course, is SSH. 5000, we're not quite sure what it is yet. And it looks like here it is finished enumerating. It looks like it is Gunicorn. It's a Python web server, I believe. And it's running on port 5000. So the first thing we should do then is start enumerating that web server. So if we run Gofuzz, and we'll see, use our common word list. Oops. W for word list. And directory 23 medium. Oops. 100 threads. We'll do recursive and we'll follow redirects. We'll show the full responses and we'll do extensions of PHP. And then we'll hide response codes of 404. And that should be good enough to get us going. Looks like it's found a couple directories already, or pages. So if we hold down Control, click, we see a page for uploading files and feed. Feed looks like it's some sort of RSS feed, although if you notice my mouse cursor is a magnifying glass, which means that this probably isn't actually a page. This is likely an image. If we view the page info, we see that yes, indeed, it's a PNG. So this is probably just an example of what they would like the feed to look like. So back here we have, this is a test API. The final API will not have this functionality. That's usually a good thing because it usually means it's something somebody wrote quickly and they don't intend on keeping. So these are usually things that we can abuse. It looks like it's looking for an XML document with the elements author, subject, and content. So if we just make something real quick, pop open a new tab and we'll do vim test.xml. And then in here, we'll add our XML element at the front. Version is equal to 1.0. Encoding is equal to ISO 8859-1. And then we can just add those elements that they wanted, which were author, subject, and content. So author, Iceman, subject, please subscribe. And then finally, content. And content can just be anything we want, like the video. And content, close out that tag. And so this is likely not going to work, and I'll show why in a second. The reason I'm doing it this way first is this is actually similar to a lot of the questions I got where people said that they're using this payload and they can't get it to work because they just get an error. And I will explain why we get that error in just a second, but first I will show it actually happen. So we upload that, we get an internal server error. And so the reason why we're getting an internal server error is we actually have 3 root elements here, and at least according to the spec, that's not allowed. I've seen parsers that handle it just fine, but it's not the way you should do XML if you're following the specifications for what is allowed. You're only allowed to have a single root element, and so if we just made a single root element like 1, 2, 3, and then we put all these down. We tried this instead, and we should see that we actually still get an error. And so that was another common thing, is some people were like, I threw it in this and it still gave me an error. And again, this is where it pays attention to look at specs. So actually, let's see if I can find them real quick in XML Wiki. I think Wikipedia has some information on, well-formedness. So a single root element contains all other elements was the first thing we were seeing. And this second one is a tag cannot contain any of these characters nor a space character, and this is the part that matters, cannot begin with a dash, period, or a numeric digit. So if we just simply change this to a 1, 2, 3, it should work. Browse, select it, upload, and now it says processed blog post, author Iceman, subject please subscribe, content like the video. For later reference, we can actually look at it here. And so we can see it there. And so now let's actually see if we can get this to do something a little more interesting and see if we can get XML external entity injection working, so XXE. So let's edit this again. And this time what we can do is see if we can get the contents of a local file on our system. So what we'll do is we'll change the content here to and XXE. And then up here, we will add, let's see, actually, let's add it outside of this root element. So we'll add doc type, and this can just be anything. We'll make it test, element test, and we'll allow it to be any type. And then entity test, or sorry, entity XXE is what we used below, system, and then 10.10.14, 7, I think I actually switched to a different server because I was having issues this morning, so it's not 15 like it normally is. Slash test.html. And then close it off. And so that should be good enough. And so we'll want to fire up another tab and fire up a Python web server, simple HTTP server on port 80. Now, there's not actually a file called test.html here. Let's actually add one real quick so we can show what happens. echo, this is a test into test.html. And so now, if we feed that to this, we get an internal server error. So let's see if we can figure out what we did wrong. Looks like it never requested the document. So doc type test element test any. And entity XXE system. That should be fine. Feed. So all this actually looks good. I probably just made a typo somewhere. Oh, I did. This semicolon shouldn't be here, I don't think. So let's try that. Okay, there we go. And so we end up seeing Iceman, please subscribe, and we see our content is this is a test, or yeah, this is a test, which was the content of our web page here, our test.html. And so we can see that it actually went out, it used, it's called a data type definition, a DTD, which is what XXE is. And it creates an alias for this command up here, which is telling it to go get the contents of that file from that remote site and replace XXE with it. And so what we can try and do instead is use something like a PHP filter. Yeah, let's try that to get the contents of something like, let's say, the Etsy password file. And so if we replace this with, let's see, insert PHP filter convert base 64 encode resource equals Etsy password. And so that should read the contents of Etsy password, base 64 encode it, and then output it in the content field. So we try that. And our connection was reset for some reason. Interesting. So that's not working, presumably. We still have connectivity. See if I made a mistake again. So entity XXE system HTTP PHP ://filter convert.base64-encode, and then resource equals Etsy password. That should be good. And so it's possible that they don't have PHP wrappers enabled, so we can do this a different way instead. We can try, we can try file / Etsy password, write that, and we'll try posting this. And it looks like that did work for getting it. So we're able to read the Etsy password file. We can see file path is Roosa. That's interesting. So Let's see if we can find something that will actually allow us to log in. Let's see if Roosa has a SSH key that we could grab. And so we can do that again by editing our file here, and let's try and get file home Roosa.ssh id rsa. And if we upload that, we can see that we were able to get the RSA key file. We just copy from the begin tag to the end tag and write that to disk, vim Roosa id rsa. The formatting here is a little messed up. So let's actually try and do this a different way. See if we can clean it up in Sublime Text. Place. So it looks like those are just spaces. We can replace all, and then let's just fix these tags. That should be good enough. And then we need to make sure that we change the permissions on it, or it won't allow us to use it to log in. So if we chmod 600 Roosa id rsa, and then we can try SSHing in with it. So we do SSH I for identity file, Roosa id rsa, and then the IP address of the machine, 10.10.10.91. Oh, forgot her username. And so we can see that we are now in as Roosa, do an ls. We can see user.text there, so we cat user.text to cut C1 through 16. There's the first 16 characters of the user flag. We can see a script called runblogfeed.sh. We can see if we could find any more private keys that could be used for SSHing. So if we were to do, well, first let's do sudo-l. See if we can sudo anything without a password. Doesn't look like we can. So another thing we could do is just see if we can find begin RSA private key. Oh, I actually forgot the period there, but that's okay. It looks like it worked anyway. So there's a couple private keys that it was able to find. One's the one that we already have here, this ID RSA. The other two look like they're in directories in her home directory called work and deploy. So we should be able to cat the contents of these. And it looks like they're the same. So we take this, copy it, and we'll use one of these windows. What did they call it? They called it authcredentials.key. So authcreds.key. chmod 600. And then let's see what other users we have on this system that we could try and log in as. Cat etc password grep bash. So it looks like get, Roosa, and root. So we do ssh -i authcreds.key. Get at 10.10.10.91. Oh, sorry, I mistyped there. That's a password. SSHI creds.key root at 10.10.10.91. That's a password. So none of those seem to work. So if we take a look in this home directory, we've got a directory called work and a directory called deploy. We take a look in each of those, ls-lar work. Looks like there's a lot of stuff in here. There's our auth credentials key that we found. Looks like there's actually a Git repo in here. So we want to take a look at that. And let's see what's in deploy. Oh, I accidentally pasted the key there apparently. So let's do ls-lar deploy. Looks like deploy is some subset of that, so it's probably whatever the active configuration is. So if we cd to work and then blog feed, and we do a git log, we can see here added key for integration to enterprise backend, reverted accidental commit with proper key. This of course looks interesting. This is similar to the can't think of the name of the box now, but the one with the Simpsons theme. And the rest of these don't look super interesting, so let's take a look at this specific commit. Use git show and the hash of the commit. And it looks like what they did was replaced a previous private key with a new private key. And I think this new private key is the one that we had already found. So MMI or MII EPQ, EPQ, yeah. So they replaced the key that we found, or they replaced this key with the key that we found. So we copy this key, auth creds, and then we'll clear this one out. We'll insert the one that we found. We'll move all these. And we can write that. And so now we'll do the same thing. We'll try and SSH in as git. Asks for a password, and we'll try and SSH in as root. And we're able to get in as root. And so if we cat the root flag to word count, oops, word count 1 through 16. Oh, sorry. Cut. And there we can see the first 16 characters of the root flag. And so that's really all there was to this box. It's pretty simple. Once you got past the XXE, everything was pretty straightforward, easy to find. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of the pop-up that showed the keys. I like it for certain things. For big, long commands, it seems a little clumsy and it seems to get in the way, but I'm interested to hear your feedback. So let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it was short and fast and I didn't have a ton of time to dig into things, but it's just busy lately, so I figured better fast than nothing. Let me know what you think. Reach out on Hack the Box if you have questions. Just keep in mind, lately I'm pretty backed up, so it may be a while before I can respond. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good weekend.